Home sales in Vaughan jumped 23% in 1 month, but the prices still well below what we saw last year. So if you've been sitting on the fence about buying, selling, or investing in the city, you've got to watch this. Hey, this is Raj with Remax Experts up in Vaughan. Every month I pull the trap data and show you exactly what's happening in the local Vaughan market. No fluff, just real data. Let's get into it. This is the April 2026 update based on the trap data for March 2026. So this is hot off the press. Now, 3 things to remember as we go through this. The sales are up 22.8%. The median price sits just above 1.1 mil, and the inventory is sitting at 5.3 months. I'll explain what all this means as we go through this. So let's get started. Here's your Vaughan snapshot from March. 242 homes sold. That's a real jump from the last month, and it shows the spring market is quite active. Now, I want to point out 2 prices here. The median is just above 1.1 mil, and the average is closer to 1.2 mil. I always show both because the average price gets skewed by a handful of high-end luxury sales. The median is where most of the transactions happen, right around the 1.1 million mark. Now, there are 1,083 active listings, with 723 being new that just came to the market, and the average home sold in 31 days at 96% of asking price. That 96% is worth paying attention to. It's not a bidding war, it's not a fire sale, it's a market where buyers have some real room to negotiate, but the sellers who price right are still getting strong results. That's the balance we are in right now. Now, here's some context that I think is really important. Vaughan's median price is just over 1.1 mil, and across all trap districts that include the GTA and surrounding areas, the median is at 870,000. That's a 234,000 premium for Vaughan, and that gap has held up consistently over the years. It's not a fluke, it reflects the fact that many families genuinely want to live in the city. Now, here's something worth noting on price. Vaughan's average price is down 9.2% year over year. Across all trap districts, that number is 7.41. So Vaughan has actually seen a steeper correction than the broader market. For buyers, that means more buying power relative to where things were a year ago. For sellers, that's exactly why pricing right from day one matters even more right now. So overall, Vaughan buyers seem to have more breathing room than the broader GTA market, which is another reason to buy in this great city. Now let's break down these numbers by home types in the city. We'll start with detached homes. Detached homes are still the biggest segment in Vaughan. 113 sales in March alone. Now look at the 2 prices here though. Average price is closer to 1.65 mil, but the median is closer to 1.45 mil. That nearly $200,000 gap tells you that the luxury sales in the city are pulling up the average price. Most detached homes in Vaughan are selling closer to 1.45 mil. With that 96% sale to list ratio, you can negotiate roughly $60,000 off a home listed at around 1.5 mil. That's some real savings. And with the inventory sitting at around 4 months, detached homes are in a fairly balanced market, not favoring the buyers or the sellers. Well-priced homes are moving in about 28 days. Homes that are overpriced, they're just sitting. Semi-detached was a much smaller segment in March with only 11 sales. But here's what I find interesting. The average and the median prices are almost identical. That tells you that pricing for this segment is quite predictable and consistent. With only 3.5 months of inventory in this segment, there isn't much out there for semi-detached homes. And yet, these homes take on average 45 days to sell, the longest of any freehold type. I think what happens here is that a lot of the buyers looking at semi-detached homes trying to figure out if they can stretch the budget a bit to go into a detached. However, if you're looking for more space than a condo but can't stretch to a full detached pricing, semi-detached homes are generally a strong value option in the city right now. Freehold townhomes were the best performers in March, and the numbers back it up. 98% sale to list ratio tells you that the buyers are paying very close to the asking price for these townhomes. The median price sits at $995,000, just under that psychological $1 million mark. Now, most buyers want freehold lifestyle, no condo fees, a bit of land, and a proper home. And freehold townhomes are the most accessible way to get all that in Vaughan. With only 3.3 months of inventory, the freehold townhomes still fall in the seller's market. So if you're selling a freehold townhome, you're in a good spot. If you're buying, don't wait too long. These don't sit. When the right one comes up, be ready to make that move. Condo townhomes seem like a very niche segment with only 5 sales in March. So take these numbers as directional rather than definitive. But here's what the data does show. 16 days on market and 100% sale to list ratio. When one of these comes up, it sells fast and at full price. The median sits at $615,000, making this one of the most attainable ways to get into Vaughan. If you're a first-time buyer or looking to downsize while staying in the city, keep an eye on this segment. And the condo apartments. This segment tells a completely different story. 71 sales, but against 405 active listings. That's 5.7 months of inventory, the most of any property type. This is a buyer's market. The HPI, Home Price Index, shows that the condo apartment prices are down 13.72% year over year. That's the biggest price correction in Vaughan across any segment. So if you're looking to buy a condo in Vaughan right now, you've got time, you've got options, you've got leverage, so you can negotiate pretty hard here to get a great deal. And for investors, the fundamentals that drove condo demand in the city have changed over the years. The young professionals, the downsizers, the renters, they're still all here, but just not enough to take up all the inventory. And some of those buyers that were looking at condos are exploring other options such as condo townhomes and freehold townhomes. So what does a home cost in Vaughan? Well, this chart puts everything side by side, and it's a great way to visualize your options. The range in Vaughan goes from around $575,000 for a condo apartment all the way up to $1.65 million for a detached home. Great price points for almost every budget. There are 2 things I want you to notice though. First is that big gap on the detached bar between average and median pricing. That's just the luxury sales pulling up the average price way up. The median is a number you need to focus on. And the second, that freehold townhome bar sitting right at $1 million mark. For buyers, that psychological threshold is real. Getting into a freehold home in Vaughan for under $1 million is meaningful. This is the slide I spend the most time on with my clients because months of inventory tells you who's in control. The rule of thumb, under 4 months is a seller's market, 4 to 6 months is a balanced market, over 6 months is a buyer's market. So let's have a look at this chart. Freehold townhomes at 3.3 months, that's a seller's market. Semi-detached at 3.5, the same story. Detached sitting at 4 months, that's pretty much a balanced market. And condo apartments at 5.7, that's definitely a buyer's market. But here's what really matters though. The individual segments all tell a very different story. And at 5.3 months overall inventory, Vaughan buyers have the slight upper hand in securing homes they really want. The key takeaway, Vaughan is not a single market. The individual segments tell a very different story. So your strategy to buy or sell a home in Vaughan must match the segment that you're trying to buy or sell in. Since real estate doesn't happen in a vacuum, let's have a look at the broader economy as well. Well, Bank of Canada rate is at 2.25% and holding steady. Mortgage rates have dropped from highs of 7% to around 4 to 5%, which is bringing more buyers back to the market as well. The inflation is sitting at 1.8%. That's within the Bank of Canada's target range. New listings are down 16.7% year over year across all TREB districts. This means there are fewer sellers coming to the market. That means the supply is shrinking, even while the demand is still on the sidelines. We will just have to watch and see how all these factors play out over the course of next few weeks and months. So what does this mean for the buyers? Well, here's my take on it. This seems like a better buying window than we've seen in the last several years. You have 3 advantages working in your favor. Number 1, there's way less competition, almost no bidding on homes or competing against other offers. Now in the past, we've all had clients where we lost out 4, 5, 6 times before securing a home. That environment is totally gone. Number 2, you have more time to decide. Homes are sitting on the market longer, so you can take your time doing the due diligence and negotiating before you make a decision. And number 3, real negotiating room. Vaughan overall is at 5.3 months of inventory and the prices have come down by 9.2% year over year. That's a great combination of better rates, more inventory, and lower prices. Now, I can't say that the market is tightening dramatically, but the supply signal is real. New listings are falling across all TREB districts. fewer sellers are coming to the market, and that's what could change the picture over the next few months. And for sellers, let's be straight. This is a way different market than 2021 and 2022, yet many sellers are still stuck with that market mindset. Today's buyers are informed, they've watched the market, they know the numbers, they are not going to overpay. And overpriced homes aren't getting negotiated, they're just being skipped entirely. Now on the flip side, homes priced at the market value are still selling at 96 to 98% of the list price. That's still a strong result. That shows you the market is not broken. You just have to go in with the right strategy, mindset, and timeline. So what does work for the sellers in the current market? Well, first, price the home right from day one. Secondly, present your home in the best possible condition. Take care of all the renovations, repairs, and invest in professional staging and photography. Third, work with somebody who will give you the cold, hard facts based on the actual market data and not just emotions. You can still get great results. You just have to earn them. So where is the Vaughan market headed next? Well, here are 4 signals that you should pay close attention to going forward. New listings are down 16.7% across all TREP districts year over year. Months of inventory held steady at around 5.4 months. Lower and steady interest rates are bringing back more buyers to the market. Vaughan prices are already down 9.2%, and now the overall supply is also declining. The data shows that this is a buyer's market, but things could shift if all these trends continue. Look, this data is helpful, but every situation is very unique. So whether you're buying for the first time, downsizing, upsizing, or investing, the strategy would have to be very different for all those scenarios. If you want to talk through what this market means in your situation, I would love to connect. Please give me a call or text me at 416-830-8305 or click the link in the video description to book your free strategy call. And let's have a real conversation about where you stand and what your options are. If this video was helpful, please give it a like and drop all your questions in the comments, as I do read and reply back to every single one. And press that subscribe button to get market updates, home tours, and much more throughout the GTA. This is Raj. I'll catch you in the next one.